reflects the mood of the people of this republic.
Yeah, but that's why I always say that we should continue playing more Ghanaian songs. And help the people to also have an appetite for Ghanaian songs.
Right.
Because the more we play the Nigerian songs, the more they go. Yeah, so we need to play our own songs too.
It's true, because not all of us would follow those arts, right? We don't even know when they release new music, but when we hear the sound on radio in particular, then you're like, who's that?
Yeah, because if we help our Ghanaian arts to also get some money, they would produce better songs. Because they don't even produce music. That's the reality.
Oh,
they don't. No, a lot of them don't.
Okay, now Winston, you're changing the conversation.
It's the same conversation. Yes,
they need money. But if you don't have money, how can you go and produce quality?
No, but are you saying?
I heard somebody say that he sang his own song. Excuse. He mastered the thing himself. He went to do
so well.
Yeah. So
Is it Mali?
Charlie,
that's somebody's profession. That's your career. You've got to put in everything and produce quality. Don't talk to me about the fact that you don't have money. That's no excuse.
If you don't have the resource, you can't do anything. If you feel you have the resource and you do not really invest a lot in your own engagement, it might not show the result. See, I can see one single song. You check one song. The number of people who wrote the song, the people who worked on the song, and the label and the kind of work that you went through. It's a lot of work because it is a professional determination.
Yes.
But I have the studio in my bedroom. So one room in my house is studio. So we do our own thing. Then because you have popular appeal, you project that onto the people. It might be interesting to your followers in the Republic of Ghana. But if any other person, we seek to compete on the continent, and I'm disappointed that people who choose Nigerian music over Ghanaian music, but can you fault them for choosing what is right? Don't we all do that all the time?
That is right.
You enter the shop.
But you see, so, just as we're talking about it, look, this lady's song, how do you call it? PSA Esther. During the wedding of Sammy Jemfi, when she went there singing the song, and I heard the song, so I went to look for the song.
Okay,
I liked the song.
That's it.
So I am saying that. See, and when I giving the chance, I play that song. The more you play, another person also gets to hear.
Yeah,
wants to listen to it. As they listen, as they download, she gets some. She can now get professionals to contribute.
Oh no! Winston, I think that's where we disagree.
That what? So
listen, are you saying that Burna Boy got all the money that he has today when he was first producing?
Listen, people were interested in investing in Burna Boy's music. Burna Boy used to walk around here with Shatta Wale.
Yeah.
At the time, people were interested in his music. People invested in his music. Okay? In Ghana here, how often do people invest in music?
Are they amenable to investments?
Anyway, a lot of it is dependent on the artists themselves. So you help the artist. That's the whole idea. When we give music money, what do they use the money for? Let me tell you about
research.
APSA. Because APSA says they know that life is go, and that it is hard to make time for the things that really count. So they wouldn't let banking get in your way. That's why with APSA's digital channels, you can bank when, where, and how you want. So you can focus on what and who is important to you. Banking has never been this easy. Transfer funds into your savings account, pay your old school union dues and your DSTV subscription, and many more with a click on your phone. Get things done simply with APSA's digital channels. That's Africanacity. That's APSA. Terms and conditions apply. Visit apsa.com.gh for further details.
And the Ghana Federation of Forest and Farm Producers is organizing the third edition of the National Dialogue with the theme Smallholder Producer Organizations Access to Finance, Market Linkages and Social Protection, Key to Delivering Sustainable Climate Resilience and Green Recovery. Is this Wednesday, 5th of April 2023 at the Fiesta Royale Hotel, Wakabush Highway, North Jolu, Accra at 9 a.m. All stakeholders, forest and farm producers are cordially invited to the dialogue. This national dialogue is brought to you by GAFAP, that's the Ghana Federation of Forest and Farm Producers, with support from the Forest and Farm Facility being implemented by the United Nations Food and Organization and its global partners, including the International Union for Conservation of Nature and the International Institute for Environment and Development, AGRICOT.
So let me tell you about Lunch Avenue now. Eat fresh home-cooked meals from Lunch Avenue. Spice up your lunch with that delicious chicken shawarma, grilled pork, or Friday special fufu and goat light soup.
Okay, that's more like you.
Order from the comfort of your office or home via 0558 502 206, and let's deliver satisfying home cooked meals in Accra or Tema. Lunch Avenue, tasty, yummy, and healthy.
And Easter has come early. Volta Hotel in Dodi World is giving you pre-Easter promotional package for you and your family before the main Easter festivities. Come and have a memorable stay and experience at Volta Hotel ahead of Easter. This special package started from Sunday, April 2nd, is through to this Thursday, 6th of April. Come and enjoy between 5 to 25% discount on our existing rate. Terms and conditions apply. Volta Hotel, the experience is worth it. For reservations, bookings, and enquiries, please call the sales team on 050 142 1977 050 142 1977. Also send them emails, sales@votahotel.com.gh. That's the email address, sales@votahotel.com.gh.
Great. So let's start a conversation. And we've been talking about happenings in Rwanda. The RPF is having its conference. And unlike what we normally would experience in Ghana, they're doing things differently. So I've been telling you about Dr. Donald Kaberuka, who is the former president of the AFDB group. Now he makes the point that African countries must first focus on what to do and how to do it in solving our problems instead of focusing first on implementation. Because for him, without knowing the what's and the how, you will implement the wrong things. Now this is what we're going to do. You listen to Dr. Kaberuka first. Now when we come back, we'll introduce Rwandan President Paul Kagame, who disagrees. And you ask yourself the question, can this ever happen in our part of the world? Listen.
Before you answer how, you have to answer what. And I'm not even sure that you have answered the what. So let me give you an example. So we're now talking about the energy transition, which will depend a lot on a number of minerals. Maybe there are 3 or 4, I think. And are you certain that countries owning those minerals are not going to make the mistake which countries exporting oil and gas have not made? I'm not sure about that. So, if we're going to say, this is how we do something, but what are you doing in the first place? So, how do I put this to you? Every single country in Africa I visited, and I visited all of them except one, has a strategy, 30-year strategy, 40-year strategy, all right? You are right, where they fail is on implementation. But often it is because the what itself has not been well thought out. All right? So it is important to answer how, but you must also answer what are you going to do. I'm not certain that many countries, the what has been answered.
Let's listen to President Paul Kagame disagreeing with Dr. Kaberuka.
I just wanted to ask you for the floor to say something. And that is to do with what Archer asked and what Kaberuka answered. I'm not sure something was not lost in between. If I may, or maybe it's me who did not pick it correctly. Even the what and the how, actually in theory have been answered, or at least people know. And that's what we get from these discussions every time, whether it is here, or Davos, or Addis, or Singapore, or New York, or wherever. We've been places, all of us, and we've been in search of what is it that we can do in Africa to put the transformation journey on track as we wish to. So actually the problem which Donald talked about also is that implementation. It's actually the main issue. You said that you are not saying that there are no implementation issues. Actually, this is the problem. Forget about the how or the what. The how and the what have been answered by you even now on the sitting there in the panel. They have been answered before several times for years. When it comes to doing things, we either do nothing or do the wrong things.
So that's Paul Kagame disagreeing with the point.
Yes.
Then Harvard professor, Professor Celestine Monga, seems to agree with Dr. Kubereka.
The moderator is putting me in a difficult situation to try to respond to that. I'm Cameroonian, so I believe in conspiracy theories. So you have something against me. I would still dare say that I'm on the side of Dr. Kaberuka on this one, simply because, yes, we've seen solutions, we've heard ideas at conferences, but many times we also have wrong ideas in the books, and we implement the wrong ideas. So I still think that in some questions, the what is still relevant. What should we do? What should we not do? I see in many African countries, I was very happy among many nice jobs that I had. One of the most meaningful was to be chief economist, vice president of the African Development Bank, because it was for me really the opportunity to serve the continent. I had bigger jobs before that, but that one was so far to me the most meaningful. And I could tell you, Mr. President, that I had interaction with a lot of ministers and prime ministers and presidents who believe in the wrong ideas. So I think that the what, in some situations, is still relevant.
So that's Professor Monga agreeing with Dr. Kaberuka. Now let's listen to Paul Kagame coming back again and disagreeing with both experts.
I still have an issue. Because not only have these things been discussed, the what and the how, we also not only have experience of places where this gap has been bridged. We have references to make in different parts of the world how things have happened. So that means the what, to an extent, has been answered. Because we're asking the what of two kinds. What do we have to do ourselves, Rwanda, the continent? And then there is the what that has been answered in other places by other people to get to where they are that we want to be. So, of course, countries have different contexts. But this does not preclude the point I'm trying to make. Saying, then you learn from the experience of other places who have answered the what in their context. That brings you closer to understand the what in your context. And therefore, do it. Therefore, what I'm saying, and really what I thought Acha was also referring to, whether it is answering the what or the how, cannot remain in perpetuity as a question being asked without coming to a closure of saying, my what to my problem, my how to deal with the problem is this one. because I have learned from other experiences, even of different contexts. But I have been hearing, I have learned from my own experience as to what.
All right, so guys, you've heard from Rwanda what's been happening at their party convention. Now, this is not what we see in Ghana. In Ghana, the General Secretary would tell us the status of the party. The Treasurer would present accounts of the party. The flag bearer or president would address. And the team in Parliament would also speak. The rest, drumming and dancing. And if there's a need for constitutional amendments, even that will be discussed. And then that's the end of it.
Sometimes there's no debate over the constitutional amendments in the end. No.
Debates. So the question is, when would our political party congress or conventions or conferences be about policy? Now, Evans Mensah is, he's joining us now. He's in Rwanda. In fact, he sent me, these sounds. Evans, good morning.
Good morning, Winston. Can you hear me all right?
Oh, I can hear you clearly. Tell us. I mean, you are there and you've been experiencing firsthand this conference and the lessons that can be learnt going forward by our political parties. Tell us more.
Listen, Winston. I mean, so, me and you and Raymond, we love politics. So when I got invited to be part of the RPF's 35th anniversary, I thought, okay, yeah, let's go and experience it, see how it compares with us. And Rwanda, we all have this stereotypical view of Rwanda because of Kagame and what the West has told us. So I came here, and this is the thing that fascinated me, Winston. This is a party celebrating 35 years in existence. This is their 35th anniversary. Their first order of business was an international conference, a political party international conference, where they invited international experts. They put together an expert panel of international people who are no Rwandans. They had no affiliation with the party, but they were experienced and experts in their field. From economics, from development, from industry to academia. They invited them to come and sit on a panel and discuss Rwanda and Africa. And the thing that I found interesting was, this is Paul Kagame, who has been, pitched and presented to us as, of course, a dictator, benevolent dictator. So I'm like, okay, I have that in my mind as well. So I came and sat through, and I'm thinking, how will they relate to him? And then discussions played out, and we just played it here. This international panel disagreeing with Paul Kagame at his own party conference. So the president walks in. First of all, there was no big fanfare when he walks in. He walks in, there was a simple clap. He sits down. Never once did he mount the stage to speak. He sat in the front row. He took out his pen and a notepad and started making notes while the experts from Harvard, from AFDB, from universities across the world were talking about Africa and Rwanda. They were diagnosing the Rwandan problem and the African problem and offering solutions in the presence of the president of the republic. The president, at one point, Paul Kagame, then disagrees with some of the positions that have been made, which we've played already. He raised his hand, asked to speak. He spoke. And when he spoke and disagreed, everybody in the room, including myself, thought, here is it. Everybody else is going to keep quiet. The conversation will move and everybody will be singing praises and clapping for the president. And they'll be saying, I concur. And one song going forward. That didn't happen. The expert panel, all three of them disagreed with Paul Kagame at his own party congress. And I was sitting there thinking, wow, this is a political party celebrating 35 years. And their primary focus is talking policy, not politics. And I found that very interesting because I couldn't help but compare to what we have in Ghana. And I came to one conclusion, Winston, and I'll allow you guys to debate it. The discipline I saw, and we can talk about the things I saw that made me convinced that this is a room of about 2,000 people, many of them party loyalists and activists. right? Everybody came there in formal clothing. There were very few people in party t-shirts. I mean, those in party t-shirts were stewards and ushers. The rest of the room were all in formal clothing. Never once did they chant party slogans. Never once did they chant party songs. Everybody was contributing to the policy conversation. And the orderliness was fascinating, right? I come to this conclusion that, and we've seen Rwanda. Rwanda is now, according to a report published by the AFDB in January, Africa's #1 fastest growing economy, top 10 in the entire world. To fix a country, you must first fix its political parties, because political parties form a government. If you have an indisciplined political party, invariably, they will form an indisciplined government, and that indisciplined government will create a country that is reeking of poverty. And that for me is the nexus I've came to, the conclusion I came to when I watch what is happening. I'm not surprised Rwanda is becoming a shining example of economic development, because they have fixed their political party, which has formed the government and is delivering on the development.
Great, Evans. Kelly, hold on. I will get back to you. But look, Dr. Tonyedu, who is the first director of research of the NDC, has had cause to complain about this. In fact, he is on record to have said he stopped going to political party congresses because all they do, drumming and dancing, there's nothing about policy. Listen to him.
I stopped attending NDC congresses as far back as 2000 because our congresses never extended to the discussion of policies and programs. It was only for elections of party officials and flag bearers, who and Razramatas ends and we go. We never had time to discuss policies and programs. No wonder Honorable Aye said the difference, ideological difference between the NDC and the NPP have narrowed to the extent that there is no distinction between the two. And yet there should be distinction. We are supposed to be social democrats, for God's sake. And what do social democrats do? They consider policies and programs that inure to the benefit of the wider and larger majority of the population, rather than contribute to what is happening. Elections being a ritual for the circulation of elites. Because that's what it has been over the years. Go to elections, one party win, overthrow the elites of the previous regime, and bring in his elites every 8 years. We go through that ritual.
Well, Raymond, so Mamavi, that's Dr. Tonyedu. He was one time the director of research of the NDC. He's been the head of the policy evaluation and monitoring unit at the presidency during the tenure of Professor John Evans Atta Mills. He's been a member of the NDC's manifesto committee. So you can understand when he says he stopped going to political party congresses in 2000 because they never discuss policy. And he's joining us on phone this morning. Okay, he's joined us on phone now, so let's get to Dr. Tonyedu. Dr. Tonyedu, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Great. So, I've just played back that audio of yours talking about you stopping going to party congress because they never talk about policy. But for us, one of the things we would want to start with is understanding, because you've been in this game for a very long time, why our focus seems to be on just winning election and not the policies that would drive our people and our party.
Well, first of all, let me take the opportunity to clarify one point about that statement I made.
Okay.
Even though that statement particularized the NDC as my personal experience, it was a general statement applicable to all the political parties.
Sure.
But as usual, the opposition MPP saw it fit to spun it in the perpetual game of ridicule to discredit that has been the character of inter-party politics in this country. Anyway, we must always bear in mind that the political party has been positioned and defined in the 1992 Constitution as an agent of development. And what is expected of an agent of development is that you must deepen your developmental thinking. And to deepen it, it means you must have constant policy conferences. Determine the measures that you would implement when you come to power. Put it to the party caucus, the general party caucus, and see whether it makes logical sense. It is pragmatic, it is ideologically suitable to the party's philosophical standpoint, and so on and so forth. And this has not been happening in Ghana. Hence, what we have had is not just the abdication of their constitutional responsibility of being an agent for political parties, but the election has become more or less a mechanism for just circulation of elites, as I said. And that is detrimental to the national interest and to the developmental expectations of the general populace. That's not all. The repercussions are quite severe. What happens is that it has helped to create a ruling class of politicians whose only concern is how to win power. As soon as one election ends, the campaign for another starts. At least in the first two conferences of the NDC, we used to have a think tank that will meet before the main conference and not only present a manifesto, but also the rationale for the manifesto measures to which the conference or Congress would approve. And it was approved on the basis of a motion. All the regions were represented at that meeting prior to the main conference meeting. But after, I think, 1990, no, the year 2000, it stopped. And I found that quite unacceptable. So I thought it was a waste of time attending the party congresses, because the objective of just going to elect party officers and flag bearers was, in my opinion, not what the political party is supposed to do, even though it must win elections in order to get the power to implement these policies. Those policies must be brought into the open for people to debate it, to look at the logicality of the policy measures. That's why our politics have become mainly propagandist. You know. For instance, take the MPP's claim to the free SHS. The free SHS policy has been constitutionally defined. It's not the brainchild of Akufo-Addo. Its implementation, yes, required the courage to do it, but its conception is not Akufo-Addo's conception. That's not how political parties are supposed to behave.
Let's look at the point you make. I mean, you've talked about, even though some would argue that political parties would need to win election first before they implement these policies. So let's explore that a little bit, because that's been the counter argument, the fact that, we need to win elections. So what's wrong if our focus is on winning the elections? Yes, we win the election. And once we are in office, once we are in power, we can think about the policy.
But you win the elections not with propaganda, but with policies and programs which are appealing to the people. Without that, all your electioneering campaign become merely propagandistic. That's all.
Well, they say that the Ghanaian likes these kind of things. That's what he's
Yes,
used to.
yes, I suppose so. That's why we say that a country deserves the government it gets. We are so vulnerable to propaganda. So you can't blame the politician for taking advantage and exploiting your vulnerability.
So let's look at, in Rwanda now we're discussing how their party is, discussing policy and everything. Here in Ghana, we're always discussing how we win the next election. Where must the change start from?
Well, I'm not surprised that Uganda is doing this because even though I've never been to Uganda,
we're talking about Rwanda.
Rwanda. I've never been to Rwanda. I know that Paul Kagame is strongly in charge, even though you may say that his style of governance is autocratic. It seems that like he fulfills the proverbial notion of the benevolent dictator in the larger sense of the word. A dictator who dictates to the benefits of the country, rather than a democrat who siphons of the value for his own pocket. Anyway, can you imagine Paul Kagame, who is firmly in charge, holding a policy conference? It's interesting as compared to here. Our political parties never hold policy conferences. In the end, the nation is served with flip-flopping policies. One step forward, two steps backwards. That's what is happening today. The 6 years of the MPP administration have been full of flip-flop policy measures. And incredibly enough, they have the sheer audacity, the sheer nerve to say that they will get a third term. But I'm not surprised that they can talk this way because they know that they've got a captive electorate. An electorate that is satisfied with just getting 10 CD while the leader gets 1 million in his pocket. A captive who take peanuts and allow the political class to keep dominating, to keep circulating among the parties through electoral cycles. That is the calamity, that is the bane of Ghana's democratic development.
Okay, so talking about Rwanda, now there's another view that says Rwanda's ruling party can focus on national development because it doesn't have to present the party as better than the competition. It doesn't have to throw shade at a rival political party. And so there's a contest, and this is the contest to the ongoing discussions at the political party conference in Rwanda. The fact
I would have thought that the other side of the coin, the argument in terms of competition, is the one that should be emphasized. Competition bring out the best. Once in Rwanda a party monopolizes, what is the need for it to do what you are suggesting it is doing, as opposed to a competitive multi-party environment in which you have competition of ideas, policies, and programs?
Okay, I get you.
So it means that the liberal adage of competition falls flat on its face then. Competition doesn't necessarily bring out the best, especially when the competition is on negative terms.
So,
and what we've had is the negation of everything. Look at the current MPP government. He claims that it is the friend of private business. And yet everything it has done over the past 6 years is to kill private sector initiative. Both its monetary and fiscal policies are stunting growth in the private sector. The recent taxes, the 3 taxes that have been imposed, is certainly going to kill business. Because how do you propose to tax profit before tax? This will encourage tax evasion. Suppose the firm decides not to publish its tax receipts. What are you going to do? You are going to employ more people to go and fish out. That is extra money. It means the tax that you are expected to get, the revenue, is going to be expended in extra operational costs. Everything we seem to be doing seems to be done in cycles, vicious cycles. Why?
Dr. Edu, would we ever get to that stage where political parties focus more on policy discussions?
If the electorate decide not to remain as a captive audience, then there will be a shift. When we started the Fourth Republic in 1992, I recall meeting John Soforiata and Kweku Sichiado on GBC TV's Talking Point. And I deliberately carried with me NDC manifesto. And I distributed copies to John Soforiata and Kweku Sichiado. And I said, go and read it. Because they never had any idea that a manifesto was even necessary. Both in 1992 and 1996. 1996, I met Osafo Mafo at UST, meeting the students. What he has in the form of a manifesto was an A4 paper, in which some points have been jotted down. Gradually, come 2000, the MPP comes out with a brilliant manifesto. So it's a process of actually forcing the political party to do what the people need and not what the political party wants.
Okay. And in forcing the political party to do what the people need, you've just talked about how these political parties hold the electorates captive. So how are the electorates going to do this?
Well, maybe when they feel the pinch and they can't bear the pinch anymore, then they will demand a new way of doing things. But for the moment, the competitive propaganda holds sway and continues to captivate the electorate.
Well, Dr. Tony Edu, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We're very grateful to you.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Right, folks, you just heard from Dr. Tony Edu, who is a former senior presidential aide and head of the policy monitoring and evaluation unit at the presidency. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Imagine running a business with 24/7 dedicated internet as well as calls to both local and international corporate clients at very affordable prices. Whatever your objectives, Airtel Tigo Business can help you through services like FlexiNet mobile broadband among others. Call us at 0577 555 000 or email us at business@airteltigo.com.gh. Airtel Tigo Business, your total business solutions provider.
There's something special happening at Heritage Christian College. Their bustling campus is right in the heart of Amasaman, just behind the Olympic Stadium, and it will amaze you what they are doing there. Heritage Christian College is churning out academic excellence with their comprehensive range of degrees, including Bachelor of Business Administration programs, IT, and theology. Don't forget to ask about their professional programs and short courses. What makes Heritage special? Heritage Christian College takes the academic experience further than ever with one laptop per student, flexible fee payment, entrepreneurial training with financial support, all delivered by a caring faculty working to develop your character and your intellect. Admissions are in progress, so call today on 054 7777 731 and get accepted. For more information, go to hcuc.edu.gh. Heritage Christian College, a university educating compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
Join us at the Junction Mall this Easter season. Come and experience the best customer service from our well-trained staff with products and services at hugely discounted prices. There's lots of fun and entertaining activities for everyone. Check out the Easter discount sales and the Easter Bunny treasure hunt from the 7th to the 10th of April. The Junction Kids Fun Fair on the 8th. The special Easter Choral Live Band on the 9th. And on the 10th, we climax our Easter celebration with Mall Day. With games like snooker, table tennis, basketball, video games, and more. We have top-notch security measures in place to keep everyone safe during this season. And we've installed adequate directional signs and engaged traffic wardens to ease your drive to and from the mall. Follow us at the Junction Mall GH on Facebook and Instagram, or call and WhatsApp us on 0540-221-774 for more information. The Junction Mall. Join, explore, shop, enjoy.
The Ghana Federation of Forest and Farm Producers is organizing its third National Dialogue Series under the theme Smallholder Producer Organization, Access to Finance, Market Linkages and Social Protection, Key to Delivering Sustainable Climate Resilience and Green Recovery. Date is Wednesday the 5th of April 2023 at the Fiesta Royal Hotel. There will be a dialogue series to promote FFPO's influence on policy access to finance, markets and building climate resilient communities. This message is brought to you by the Ghana Federation of Forest and Farm Producers with support from the Forest and Farm Facility being implemented by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and its global partners, including the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the International Institute for Environment and Development, and AgriCord. See you there.
Gone are the days when good sleep was a nightmare. Today, rest is assured. We have found a solution. Royal Foam is here. With Royal Foam, quality and customer satisfaction comes first. We produce mattress, carpentry foams, duvets, bedspreads, curtains, and beds.
For the quality services we offer, Royal Foam have also been awarded at the 12 Business and Financial Excellence Awards.
For good sleep and better relaxation, it should be Royal Foam. For quality, buy Royal Foam. Visit Royal Foam at our showrooms and sales depots across the nation. Call our hotline on 020-227-1000. Royal Foam, rest assured.
We got a dance party. As they come out naturally, we got a dance party.
Introducing the new Techno Spark 10 series. Enjoy a long-lasting 5000 mAh battery capacity plus 18 watts charging pad in an ultra-sleek 6.7-inch Full HD screen with a storage galore of 256 GB plus 8 GB. You can save every memory and never lose any. 32 megapixels glowing selfie camera and 50 megapixels AI rear camera. Get your Techno Spark 10 series. Visit the nearest Techno accredited shop and join the glowing selfie gang.
Think Media Expert is at it again. Passion Night 2023. Last year was Journey to the Cross. This year is The Betrayer. Who betrays who? Will it be Dr. Likey and Van Vicker or Ghana Jesus and Salinko? among other stars from Accra and Kumasi, happening live at the National Theatre on the 16th of April 2023. It's going to be a night of good music, drama, and comedy. Expect to be thrilled with great tunes from the legendary Pat Thomas, Joy's Blessing episode, and the Heavenly Jewels Chorale. Don't forget, there'll be free health screening from 1 p.m. Each ticket purchase gives access to free health screening. Standard tickets, 50 Ghana cedis. VIP, 80 Ghana cedis. Ticket outlets, Airport Shell, Joy FM, and Ego Tickets by dialing *713*33*21#. The main show starts at 5 p.m. sharp. Sponsors: Auntie Ama Sardine in Tomato Sauce, Dams Premium Travel and Tour, Jet Medical Services, Media Partner, and Doom TV. For sponsorship, call 055-1111-998. This event is powered by Think Media Experts.
Coffee in your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
That, for example, a country in West Africa, please no names, which was the first one to go to the IMF and begin journey of economic reforms, is back to the IMF today. Please, no names. Why? A combination of domestic indiscipline, macroeconomic indiscipline, and these external shocks. So as a result, they have lost what I call political space, fiscal space, policy space. The decisions they're now implementing are not their decisions. Why? Because during the days when things were very good, they did all the wrong things. They ticked all the wrong boxes. Massive borrowing, for example, massive spending, huge levels of the deficit, without building the resilience for when the days will be difficult. I can think now of about 14 countries in Africa who are in that phase. So the first thing I think our message we're passing is that restoring that degree of economic independence begins by economic discipline.
Coffee in your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy.
Which country is that? Which country is going back to the IMF in West Africa? Used to be doing well. Oh, but of course, it's a combination of massive borrowing, massive expenditure, external shocks, but of course, because we did not build a resilient economy. Raymond, you know the answer?
Yes, everybody will know by now
that
this one is as clear as day. That is the Republic of Ghana. You see, these are all the little people. We become the butt of all jokes. If I check all of the major economic papers from the Financial Times, sometimes if your phone, if you are one of those who actually take alerts on Ghana, if your phone gives you the alert and go and check it, there were times that we were hearing all the good news about Ghana. The black star of Africa, how we are rising and all of that. Now it's either Ghana is struggling and begging somebody, Ghana being an indisciplined lot, Ghana blaming everybody but for himself, for his own woes and all of that. So it's not difficult for anybody, even though he said no names. He meant the no names because it's a very embarrassing situation we find ourselves in. I'm wondering how the people that thought we should pursue economic independence will be feeling. And that's what it ended. Economic independence starts with discipline. We would admit, but some, not government. Government will not admit it. That's why it's not shared with you. It's post-COVID economic recovery program, which is said was almost like our Sinchi Forum report, which we are taking into the future for economic resuscitation of this economy. We don't have it, right? We don't even have what they are putting before the IMF. It's a couple of notes, about 4 that they shared in that statement that they gave us. We, the people who are agents and part of this engagement, we are being kept 100% away from not only discussing the main policies, but every single time when they have to put a burden on the people, they do it to us, right? Like recent taxes. There is fundamentally a problem with how we are pretending to be a democracy where the people are very much far away from every relevant decision of state today. And yet we get to bear the brunt all the time. So yeah, it's not difficult to identify Ghana to be in this state at all. Because let's take the bosses. They said they made all the wrong decisions. You compare. you compare. When we were spending big time, people mentioned it to us. We said that we were doing resuscitation when we were spending so much and spending on the wrong things that cannot pay for itself, things that are not productive enough. When we were using sloganeering to take out money, for example, one not Mount Village one. I wanted to mention the other one. 1 million per constituency, and before our own eyes, we saw what the evidence in Odododio was. After 3 good years of implementing that policy, not a single completed project. I remember in 2019 we reviewed it on the same network. So you can tell yourself, we made big talk about how we develop this country, but we only got on the wrong footing, and we ended up spending and kept on spending sometimes when it's almost like that father, right, who takes the house, the money for the house and borrows more and add it to it. The guy is spending left, right, center. When other members of the family draws his attention to the massive spending, he either calls you the enemy or you are not visionary like him. He feels that that's big thinking until he gets into the position where he cannot pay for his own debt, then ends up asking family members to now give up the very small amount of money they have to actually pay. Even in that situation, he's not discussing with the family how to get out of the situation. He feels that he's still competent and knowledgeable enough to do it on his own. But the evidence that countries that we did not really respect in times past are the ones rebuking us for the current situation we find ourselves in.
I'm happy this observation is coming from not a Western country.
Yeah.
This is Africa,
Yeah.
but also
The former
not,
AFDB president.
not within Ghana, because we've heard in terms of the massive borrowing, massive expenditure. We've heard Professor Bokpin talk about this, Professor Peter Korte as well, but only because it's within our country. It's good that the observation is being made still in Africa, but not in Ghana.
Well, but you see, look, let me talk about the policy bit. And Dr. Tonyedo has, simplified everything for us. Because today, the focus is on winning the next election.
Yeah.
Now, political parties as agents of development should have a clear policy on how they intend to govern if elected. Okay, yes, that would be in your manifesto. You see it. But if you were to do an analysis of manifesto promises fulfilled, we would also realize that a lot of the political party manifestos are empty. Very empty today. Because, look, whatever it is, a lot of work does not go into the manifestos. What really matters to these political parties is how they capture you through slogans.
Because apparently we've been told that people are quite gullible, so they will love these things.
Yeah, I was just going to say, are they not giving us what excites us?
Yes. And
so do you know that we're asking, you tell me, you know that prior to the implementation of free SHS, we asked this question like 1,000 times. Please, what's the policy document of free SHS? You remember that conversation?
Yes.
Consistently. And they'll say, oh, we are developing it, but it's not been implemented. We are just starting. We are just going to tell you something. Then later on, they shared some slides, which did not really detail which policy document it is supposed to be. Then one district, one factory. The same questions were being asked. The same responses came up. Oh, yes, we'll share it with you. We have a plan. Then they did some color wheel of where to put what.
And
but again, the policy documents were not shared with the ordinary people or even the intellectuals of this country to break it down, to delve deeper into it, make suggestions on how to improve these systems.
And you see, the other challenge is that, and with the free SH, I mean, with the one district, one factory, at the point when we started challenging government, that you said you were going to build one district, one factory in every district, they said, go and check our manifesto. But you see, the point is that in all the dealings, having put that in the manifesto, we will collaborate with the private sector. Then government goes ahead on all of its campaigning to say, when we come,
we are building a factory.
We'll implement one district, one factory. Every district will get a factory. Also because all the time, like we have seen, the government just do not take time to think through a lot of these policies. I mean, I did a paper, When the People Don't Matter, the case of the 1D, 1F. Because you're supposed to engage people. There should be a buy-in. The community will form an economic committee in that community, and they will look at where they have competitive advantage. And once there's a buy-in, for instance, implementation of that project becomes very simple.
Yeah.
And so, look, there are instances where, for instance, in local economic development, we've said when the people buy in, they even contribute towards the sustainability of that project. Unfortunately, a lot of these things were not done. When they started the 1D, 1F, they went about it nicely by asking all districts to submit existing companies that they want government to invest in, which is the right thing to do. And so, if you remember, 2 million Ghana cedis funding was made available for each district under the 1D1F. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
The next moment, we're going on again because we didn't properly think it through. So now there's pressure on you to actually deliver 1D1F. You start going around and saying, who is building, who's building, who's building, and that's the end of it. That seems to be a problem most of the time.
So a very fine opportunity to do industrialization, which we all agree with, which we know will create jobs, then becomes a political football, which ends up with shoddy projects being developed across the country in a way that it doesn't make sense and it's not sustainable. So we do stories back and say that, oh, these factories are collapsing. They're not properly thought through. People say, no, but why do you even decide to put a sugar factory here when our needs are very far from it? And cocoa should be what you should be processing. No, rice factory. Instead of doing that, why are you not doing cocoa rather? So the people, including the chiefs of the area who have actually lived there, understand the economic development of their own area, appear to be very far from your project in a way that the people are cocoa farmers, and yet your biggest thinking is that they should actually be developing rice rather. So at some point, we need to be serious because things are going on in other parts of the world. We are not evolving the way we are supposed to evolve. We should perhaps be having every single day conversations, forcing politicians on the table to have the deep thinking. You see, at some point, if you can't even do the thinking as a political party, farm it off to the universities. Let them help you. Let a chunk of our research. Remember when the UK people stopped their funding for research? See how many lecturers and people were crying in this country. A chunk of our research is sponsored by people elsewhere. Yeah. We are not putting in the thinking. People who are paid to think cannot think. They can't even get the people to help them to think. So we do things anyhow. You don't have money, go and borrow the money. Come and waste the money on poor implementation of things that were not properly thought through. And at the end of the day, we only do slogans for the next election.
Right.
Which will not go anywhere, like the way we deal with youth unemployment.
Okay, so let me tell you about Heritage Christian College. I would wrap it up with Evans shortly. Raymond Kwame Sapon says, please, no names. Now, did you miss out on the January admission into university? Worry not, because Heritage Christian University College is offering you the opportunity to join our April 2023 intake. Heritage Christian College is located at Amasaman behind the Olympic Stadium and affiliated to KNUST and accredited by GTech. Now, we offer the following programs: BBA programs, options in accounting, marketing, human resource management, banking and finance and business, information technology management, BSc information technology, BSc information security, and Bachelor of Theology. Professional ICA, CIMG, CIHRM, ICM, and media short courses are also available. Now, there's entrepreneurship training with financial support, one student, one laptop, but terms and conditions apply. Affordable and flexible fee structure. The scholarship which is also available with terms and conditions applying. Contact us on 0547 777731 or 0202 298399 or dial star 789 star 300 hash to purchase an online serial number and apply via our website hcuc.edu.gh. There's a 50% tuition waiver for all 2023 April fresh students. Heritage Christian University College, a university training compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
And for the latest books, quality stationery, it has to be Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited. They are the supplier of quality office essentials, equipment and furniture at affordable prices. They've made it even very convenient for you to shop. So they're saying that don't go through the hassle of going into any of their stores. Just log on to kingdomstoreonline.com, kingdomstoreonline.com, and simply start shopping. They will deliver to your homes and offices within reasonable time, and they offer free delivery within Accra and Tema. They also accept payment via Momo across all networks. Terms and conditions apply. At Kingdom, quality and affordability are their hallmarks.
Right, so let's wrap it up with Evans. Evans. Hello, Evans. Is Evans still on?
Yes, Winston.
Great. Let's wrap it. I mean, you've listened to Dr. Tony Edu.
Yes, Winston, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you too. You've heard from Dr. Tony Edu. He's talked about the challenges we're faced with and how the people must eventually demand. And when they feel the pinch, they'll take the next steps. Remarks, Evans.
Yes, Winston. So I struggle to hear you a bit. I struggle to hear you, but let me just wrap up by saying,
Sure.
I didn't hear the question, but I believe you could hear me. So let me just wrap up by making the point that I've heard all of you. I've heard Dr. Tony Edu, and I really want to end by emphasizing my biggest lesson so far, which is that Ghana's biggest gap in our pursuit of development, it is the miserably poor quality of our two political parties, the NDC and the MPP. That is the biggest gap in our pursuit of development, and something we have not focused on. We've focused on some of the big things, how to put in place a development plan, fixing the economy, etc. But I must humbly submit that we should forget about all those lofty ideas if we fail to fix our two main political parties. The quality of our political leadership and the followership, it is terrible, and it's the reason why we are where we are. The Rwandan Patriotic Front Party has shown that when you place policy above politics, when you place meritocracy above party loyalty, where only the best should get the job and not the person who has a party color, a party card. And you know why I say this? Let's take the party conference as an example. If the MPP and the NDC even had the courage to hold the party conference and had the imagination to have a panel of experts, I can bet my bottom dollar that the people that will be on the panel are NPP loyalists and sympathizers who we all know their political colors who will be empaneled. But here is a political party here in Rwanda that does a party policy conference and chooses to invite experts who are even not Rwandese. They are not citizens of Rwanda to come and sit on the panel, and when the president challenges them, they challenge him back. And the thing about followership, the room, the auditorium of 2,000 people party loyalists never once showed an intolerance to that. Winston, can you imagine President Akufo-Addo or John Mahama sitting in their party conference and being challenged openly by panelists that they have invited at their own conference? I can't imagine that. And even if that happens, can you imagine what the auditorium filled with MPP and NDC foot soldiers will do to those panelists? Until we fix that particular problem, we should forget about our pursuit of development. We should forget about development plan to become a first world country by 2034, I think it is. Because our political parties form the government, and governments fix the country. If we don't fix the political parties first, and we don't prioritize disciplining the political parties, the two indisciplined political parties we have, and no wonder, Winston, from 1992 to now, the NDC and the MPP have had equal shares of government, but they have been in competition, I must humbly submit, over who will impose the best misery, economic misery on its people. The last time we went to the IMF, the last time the economy nearly collapsed was the previous NDC government under John Mahama. The government that took over from him, this MPP government, has superintended over an even worse economic outcome, which is what we're currently facing. So incrementally, the two parties are competing over who will impose the worst misery. One does it to the extent, the next comes and that's even worse. But you know why they do that? Because the political parties that form the government are so indisciplined, they invariably produce a very indisciplined government. A government that will only appoint people to positions because they are most loyal to the party. They will not invite a Harvard professor who will come and sit there and challenge President Akufo-Addo and challenge John Mahama at his own party conference. And that is at the heart of the problem that we are talking about.
Thank you very, very much. Summing it up for us, Mama V.
Yeah, you don't have to look very far. You know that at the party conferences, we have other political parties coming to deliver their goodwill messages, right? And we've seen some of the presentations, people being heckled because the opinions that they share on those platforms are the opposite of the political parties that invited them. Well, it hasn't gone so well. we're not sure if we'll ever get to the point, where, with the picture that Evan's been painting from the Rwandan experience. But let's go on Twitter. There are messages to share. At Ashanti Black says, if they, politicians, can make more elsewhere, why do they seek to die with Article 71? At Isampon says, I guess a bit of hard-handedness is just a thing for Africa then, because this book-long democracy thing doesn't seem to be doing it for us. Rwanda doesn't seem that democratic, yet it's working for them, isn't it? #JoySMS. At Ni Adote says, our politicians lack conviction and have no principles. Ebenezer Asari says, these political parties have one motive, so there's nothing new in their congresses when it comes to policies.
Right, when we return after these messages, our friends from Mfantsipim will be joining us. Today marks their 147th anniversary. What that means is that 147 years of secondary education in Ghana. We'll be right back.
Hajia, our life was in dangerous. Only our neighbor gets water with water tank.
Water tank?
Yes, water tank. Mamma mia, that water tank gets meter for checking water level. That water tank be fine past Kumasi Selenium. That water tank be tough like Ghana Army. That water tank, they carry water pepe, so say some no go left inside the supply tank. What a tank! As my boss, Mr. Poncho, go talk.
Beautiful